I'm Chase.
And I'm Timothy.
And this is Customer Service. Hello, everybody, and we're back with another episode of the Customer Service Podcast. It's myself, Chase, and...
Chase put incense in here to light the mood. He put the incense burner on the wrong side of the hole. He's got it right next to me, so I feel like I'm fucking in my dad's truck growing up. You got me all fucked up. Okay.
Dude, so let's just start with that. First off, I'm having one of those days where I'm like, I don't want anybody to look at me, see me, talk to me.
I had one just last week. There's some days where I feel like my bones need to come outside of my skin. Yeah. Like going home and disrobing wouldn't be enough. I want to take off my skin and muscles like the I can't think of the 1970s math cartoon, that Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh yeah,
like that guy did. I want to take it all off and just be bones for a little while.
Seriously, and I can't pinpoint it. You know what I mean?
No,
it's nothing really. I'm wearing clothes I like. It's just...
Well, and this is going to be a wild one because I told you I started, and I said before I clicked the button, I said I'm going to regret not peeing before I go, but we just got to get going because it's already been like we put it off too long.
We got a lot of shit to do. Yeah.
So here we go.
So let's start off with this. You're an incense guy.
Yep, I've been an incense guy.
You and Abby gave me some of the Loewe. Was it called Vine or is it
Ivy.
The tomato one? Ivy. That explains why when I was typing.
I gave you a tomato one too, though, didn't I?
Both, but the Ivy is really top notch, best ones. And so that kind of turned me into an incense guy. And my new thing...
It's good. Everyone says, like, I don't like incense. And you don't have good stuff is the problem. Like, I'm not saying maybe the smoke does bother you. I don't know what kind of allergies people have or whatever people's deals are. But I'd say, honestly, a lot of the reason people say they don't like it is because they assume they associate it with incense smell, which is bad incense.
They associate it with the place in the mall that sells tie-dye T-shirts that has eagles on it. They sometimes sell katanas and maybe guns. Certainly airsoft guns. Yeah. And then they have, incense.
It's a store that started with the best intentions, you know what I mean? Of being like, we're just like hippies that want to sell a couple like shirts with turtles and frogs on them. You can buy some rocks. You can buy incense. You can buy a couple other
Bart Simpson figurines.
Hold on. That's when when they put the first year into the P&L and they're like, hey, man, people are not into our nature stuff. And they're like, what else could we get? Like Bart Simpson stuff. And then slowly over time, half of it turns into a Spencer's Gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when suddenly there's airsoft guns and
bully
stuff.
Clubs. So if you're a trucker and you need to whoop on somebody trying to come, it's just demented.
Yeah.
But it'll be incense that are labeled, bad things, body part smells and things. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's silliness. But anyway, you turned me on to these incense. I bought this set of incense from the Beams Japan shit. In fact, I still actually have to pay for it. I have to go over to the store and pay for it. But I got the one that's starts with a K.
I'm gonna fucking have you arrested as soon as you finish this podcast.
He's got the
cops
blue waiting
during the pod. There they are. There he is, officers.
So this one's tight. This one is it's the essence of plum. I believe it's among various other things, and I'm not learned.
These are like very traditional Japanese incense.
They said this one is for meditation and bringing joy and euphoria. But it's something that I've mentioned, and I'd like to just state again, we are still not smoking weed. It has been rough because I'm sleeping like dog shit. Just the craziest fucking dreams. And waking up, it feels like every 20 to 30 minutes. But I like all the other things that come with not smoking weed. Point being, this is part of my new ritual. I go home and I light it and I fuck around with all my plants, water the plants, prune them, take little cuttings, put them in all the recycled Martinelli's apple juice jars that I make Alex save for me. And it's just part of my dicking around at home now. So I'm really liking it. It's a new fun thing.
As a person, you are kind of the nature store with the Bart Simpson bootlegs in the back.
My interests change so rapidly and all the things I'm into. So I'm liking the incense. And when we go to Japan, we're trying to cop some Loewe ones because that yen is in our favor.
Yeah. They also, we need to find like more incense shops.
Because we went to the one, which was fine. The fella had on some nice Nikes and a little pin, and he was a nice fella with a suit.
But I didn't understand what I was buying at all.
There was too much variation.
Yep. Too many options. I didn't understand what things were. Yep. I just kind of grabbed the few that looked good. And off we went.
Yep.
But
so maybe we'll find, I'm sure there's something near us that is going to be a whole situation.
You'd assume, yeah. So what else is going on?
Actually, I have another cool thing I want to talk about. We did a coffee exchange this month within the Discord, so people could...
What is it? I saw that you guys were doing it, but what does that mean?
So basically, I just put out a little message, everybody reacted to it, and then we had 30 people that wanted to do it. So you pair these people together, you DM each other, and you agree on, all right, let's spend $20 to $30 max, right? Here's my address. If some people wanted to also exchange, coffee merch, hats, mugs, what have you. And so I did the pairing, and I haven't heard anything, so nobody's shorted anybody. Everybody's been really wholesome per the Canoe Club Discord. You know what I mean?
Was that a threat that somebody was going to be like, got your ass?
Well, there's been times like in past and in another Discord that I've been in for years, and where it's like, you do like a Secret Santa, and then the one person kind of just drops off the face of the earth, got their shit, and then you never hear from them again. And it happens so rarely, and the people that participate in the Discord, I know most of them like by name. You know what I mean? So I feel comfortable with it. But I sent out my stuff earlier this week and landed to my buddy in Long Beach. I won't say his name. And I just got his stuff just a moment ago, Brondo, from him. He sent me some coffee, sent me this cute little skeleton figurine, which I will put back here. I totally forgot to get it before we came in. And he sent me a bunch of seeds, and I want to tell you one of them. Some Japanese indigo seeds. And he wrote the actual genus and species, or whatever. So I'm going to grow some indigo this next year. What do you think about that?
Nice. Your bit cannot just be you saying something weird fast and then going, what do you think about that? Weird that fast. Can't be the dynamic. I think that you've also laid so many of these on me throughout the years that I'm getting to the point where I can't react to every single one. You know what I mean? Like, not everything can surprise me. Otherwise, I'm being dumb.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
That's fair.
I think that's so great.
So I'm really excited about that.
Aren't you going to have to like dry it out, and then like you have to make, get it and then take it and dry it out, and then so this is like
I'm sure.
It feels like it's a multi-year project for you.
Yeah. No. One thing I would like to grow.
How much do you need? If it's in that form,
I have literally no clue. I just opened it, so we'll see. I think he has grown it successfully. He's like a big story MFG guy and stuff like that. So he's into like the natural dyes.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows,
so I trust that he knows what he's doing.
You see a guy with pants on like that, and you're like, he knows.
Yeah, motherfucker can dye. Okay, he can make some dyes. So I'm excited for that. Other than that, bro, it's been a wild week. I feel like I have not gotten on top of my shit. We've been all everywhere.
Yeah, remember there was a private event you tried to invite everyone to.
So you guys want to come by?
So we had that kind of displaced us all. As if you watched the pod previous where the audio was shit because we did it from home.
Yeah.
It's just been a little bit of like a. I don't know. I feel the same way. Like I think actually as of like moments ago and then finishing this pod, I'll have crossed most of my things off this week, but it feels like it kind of all happened like end of day yesterday and this morning. Yeah. Of things like getting my shit done. So it has been a little bit of a weird week.
No, and it's good.
And
it's good because we
there.
Have work to do. We're good. We're lucky. So
we have our engineered garments collab completely shot. It's being edited. It's been planned. Mm-hmm. I don't want to commit to anything here, and I also don't remember all the dates, but I think we're looking good.
Mid to late October. Yeah, that's what's safe to say.
Yep.
Mid to late October.
Yeah. But you'll start seeing things about it sooner rather than later. Yep.
Photo, video, product shots are being shot today. Really stoked. I'll drop a little more little nuggets along the way because I have a couple ideas, little add-on things I want to do, in addition to to reward those first people to place orders, stuff like that. Yeah, man, just really looking forward to all that.
It's looking really good. I've seen a lot of it, and it looks great. Yeah. So I'm excited to see how people respond to it.
Yeah.
But it's looking good. What else? Anything else going on?
This weekend coming up, I know you won't be joining us, but on Sunday we will be heading out to Coops to jump on the trampoline and watch more football. I know Abby and Gia are going to join us. That's going to be fun.
I'm happy for you all.
So I think I said it.
I always have to play this game of like, I don't want anyone going around being like, Timothy doesn't like hanging out with us.
Oh, hey,
I just don't like football. Yeah. I don't like the sounds it makes. I don't like the arguing.
Yeah.
I don't like
the excitement.
No, it's not that. I don't like the like. Nothing about it is for me.
Yeah, no,
it's just
I get
the
it.
deal. You know what I mean? I'm glad you guys like it. It seems like a fun activity for you all to be depressed about all the time for some reason, and talk about how your team and my guys and it's like you guys, you don't own these guys. You're not on that team. You guys put $100 on it. But so the amount of like the anger I see from Abby and stuff when she's watching, like, why do you guys do this? It seems like, why would you get this? I don't listen to like a new album that come out and be like, damn it, these motherfuckers, I didn't get it right. It's like, oh, that's kind of right. I didn't like it as much as
when Title Fight put out Hyperview. So get this bullshit out of my fucking face. I'm not listening to that.
First of all, it's not, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad. It's just not
Title Fight. It's not what I wanted.
It's not the first two Title Fight records.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll disagree here, but I can't even remember the one, but it was like fourth Joyce Manor record or whatever. I'm like, I don't want this. This isn't what I wanted.
Oh, see, yeah, I disagree with that. I think
I don't know if I'm saying the right number.
No,
I can't remember the names.
It's the one that it was the album cover that like ripped the Germs album cover. You know, it's like black, white, and like the O or something, and
maybe
Joyce is blue or something.
I'd have
like
to look
that.
at it. If I looked at him, I would know
Brand
right away.
New Ice Skates is on there.
There was one that hit, and I went, no.
Yeah.
No. We're done. I'm done with it now. I still think they're great, but I just didn't like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and then I don't like that.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
These punk guys get too much guitar gear, and then you forget that like the whole reason it's good, or you guys are doing a cool thing, is because you don't have cool stuff.
They got too much guitar gear. They heard Loveless and a couple Dino Jr. records. And they're like, well, I
don't even think. I think it's like the same guy who's like, you know, who's actually cool if you go back to it, Deftones, and you're like, yeah, that's true, but you guys don't have to then do that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, that photo that was circulating of Jay Mascis and MJ Lenderman, is that his name, or is that just
he's got a different name? I forget what it is off the top of my head now.
I would love to see that conversation go down. You know what I mean?
We were talking about it in the Discord. Just got two guys sighing and you're like, yeah, just nothing. So just giving nothing. It would be the worst interview of all time. I would love to see the like person on person, and then they just interview each other, no questions. Do you like music?
So we got that going on, man.
If you guys want to laugh, one of the best, I think it was Jay Mascis doing the like rig rundown for Reverb, and he's just giving them 0, and you can tell they edited it to go faster, and it's still glacial. You know what I mean? And it's just every single one. He's like, it's like a big mouth. It's like fine. It's like, okay. He's like, it kind of does this, and then he like rips a thing. Yeah, it's great. It's a great interview.
I like him as a character. If 20 years from now he comes out and says, I was running a bit, guys, and y'all fell for it. I'm actually a super eloquent, friendly, open person. I wouldn't be surprised because it's so insane.
His bit is like the guy. It's like the alien from Men in Black. It's like it crawled into a guy and was like, I gotta be a guy now. For the rest of my life, I got to try to be a guy. And it's like every time he answers a question, he has to think, how would a human do this?
And then he says a word.
And then he kind of like bails.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. So that's pretty much what's going on. We got CU football tomorrow. Sco Buffs. I'm excited for that.
Sco Buffs. That's the worst. That's the worst thing. I don't know what Sco is, but that is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
I want to throw a shout out to some friends that we don't actually have, but they listen to the pod. Ryan at Dry Storage, he was down in California this last weekend for a buddy's wedding.
We're getting to the point where this should be the podcast brought to you by Dry Storage.
He even said, he goes, I listened to that podcast the other day, and you didn't even bring it up organically in conversation. You just said, well, anyway, you guys should pop on down to Dry Storage. And
classic.
So
you go show shoehorning something in that you forgot.
I genuinely love the restaurant, and I love Ryan, so I'm happy to show some love. You know what I mean?
I don't fight you on it.
He was down he went to the Carmel Viz store, and they were like, hey, how's the Canoe Club crew? Love the pod. Tell the guys we said what's up. So what's up, fellas? Thanks for listening. That's so funny.
Insane, but
yeah. If you ever find yourself out this way, we'll have a beer. So let us know. But sincerely, thank you. That's a lot of fun.
Guys. Yeah.
And thanks for taking care of the boy while he was out there. Other than that, man, shit. We got work going on. What about you? You got anything fun going on? I know Sunday you'll probably maybe do a long walk, maybe do a soak. Actually, it's going to be like 60, 68 degrees or something, dude.
Oh, it's low.
It's gonna be low Sunday.
Real bummer, man. My summer's coming to an end. I feel like I'm getting a little seasonal depression already saying goodbye to it because I like that, and I don't. Fall's fine, but it's like it always feels like it lasts 2 weeks and then it's over.
Well, here it does.
And then we're just
not
in
an
the
actual
damn
season
winter,
here.
and I just can't. I hate winter so much.
Yeah.
I don't even care about the dressing portion of it anymore.
You dress the same.
It takes too big of a hit, and yeah, I don't.
We
change
both do. We
the
both
way I
dress
dress
the same
no matter
way.
what. I wore a sweater yesterday. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't.
It was
stop.
hot. We were on the sidewalk out in Denver and just cooking, and I look at you and I'm like, I know he's hot right now because I'm sweating.
Yeah, it wasn't like sweating or anything. It's like it's a washable cashmere. It's not too bad,
Sick.
but it was like it's enough to. It was still when you're standing out in the black top. It's like a city that's a black top.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like hot everywhere.
Yeah,
there's no coverage. There's no nothing.
Yeah.
So,
hey, here's another sponsor I want for the pod. Best pizza in the state is Redeemer Pizza down in Rhino.
I support a shout out of a
Redeemer
pizza.
Is fucking yes. So if you find yourself in town, you're looking for pizza. Listen,
go there.
A lot of places make pizza, and a lot of pizza's good. Redeemer is
good.
But like for the pizza that I want to eat, like what I think is that's really it for me. I love it. So I was happy we got a little.
Everything I've had, I feel like I've been there a lot.
Yeah.
Compared to other places I go, because if I find a spot, I crank on it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah.
So I go to the same coffee shop.
Hey.
7 days a week. I go to if I there's like a pasta place in town. It's the only one I'll go to.
Yep.
I don't like to mix it up. Once I find the best one, you just stick to that.
Well, because here's the thing. Because I did this not long ago. We were going to order some food. We threw out Chipotle, and we're like, well, let's do something different than Chipotle. We ended up doing some other, knockoff Chipotle situation. We were disappointed. It was bad.
Yeah.
Less than half of the food got eaten, and you know that I don't let food go to waste. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was poor quality, bad food. So when you find the thing that works for you, just stick with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Plus, I like to you really support a place. Not just like, I've been there once and it's great. And it's like, well, how do you know it's great? You only had one thing one time. Mm-hmm. I like to go there and really try to get everything.
Yep.
I think at the coffee shop I go to, as of yesterday, I've tried everything that they do.
Really?
Outside of like the teas and shit, because it's a coffee shop. I'm not going to get a tea at a coffee shop. I don't know why anyone would pay for a tea at a coffee shop.
It's a little silly when I see it, unless it's a matcha situation, because that's actually like a thing. There's like a...
But again, you go home and you get a...
Yeah,
so it's ready in 4 seconds. There's I don't need any special equipment.
Yeah, but like certainly
just a little
bagged
stir.
Tea feels a little...
It's crazy.
If you like the ambiance and you're going to go in there and you just it's part of a routine, but that's fine.
Tell me what you think of this idea I've been kicking around. I want to do... I don't know if I want to do it, but I want to see it. Or maybe I would want to do it. And I think trademark this.
Yeah,
like
TM.
We've trademarked a lot
Legally
of
binding.
things on here. Yeah. I want to start like an Instagram or a TikTok or a YouTube or something.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter. Where I want to dress like a cop, which I know is already illegal.
Like a cop, yeah.
But I want to be like a cop. I want to get full bulletproof vest and kind of walk around. But I want to be a cafe cop.
Yeah.
And anytime someone does something I don't think should be allowed in a coffee shop, that's arrested. Yeah. I'm going to arrest people at coffee shops. And I don't think it's going to... This is going to hit for a pretty wide group. Anyone who's worked in a cafe, anyone like me who's ever been frustrated in a cafe, which is everyone. Yeah. I feel like this would resonate with a lot of people.
Like the fellow you saw down at Wonder who brought his printer and a desktop computer.
Full desktop printer. Full desktop, full printer. Sam pushed 2 things together at the juice shop and then sat by the window. And it's like, and was taking meetings and printing things. I'm surprised he didn't have like a photocopier and like a old school. It's like, where'd you even get all this off? It took him 2 trips to get into that location, which is insane. Yeah. If I saw him even bringing into the desktop computer, like, no, absolutely not. It looks bad.
Ugh, dude. Part of me wants to own a cafe just to be able to police people with poor behavior in public.
I would have the lowest rated cafe ever, but the people that would like it would be loyal because they respect the rules.
Yeah.
But I saw a lady just today, or was it yesterday? Order a drink. It came. They gave it to her in a to-go cup. Yeah. She didn't want it in a to-go cup, and I can be like, oh shit. I can understand like being like, oh man, like I meant to get it in here because I'm just gonna drink it here. Like, and I get that you're not gonna use the single use whatever. Sure. All supportive of what you're trying to do, but they already put it in the cup. So just take the cup.
Just take the fucking cup.
It's already happened.
What's it change?
It's gonna get thrown away. It's not like they're gonna reuse the cup. Yeah. So what she did was take the thing, and she asked for the ceramic cup so she could pour that in there, and then I'm like. Now you're just throwing that away. You've done worse by this. Yep. And what is this? Is some aesthetic thing that you're trying to do here? Like, what are we? Just drink it out of that cup.
You don't think you're gonna?
Anyway, this is the thing. Arrested.
arrested and kicked out to the fucking curb.
Put her in a Toyota Camry.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put her in a different location.
Here's the thing. Also, speaking of old people, I got two things to say.
Easy, wherever we're going here. We don't want to get in trouble.
You'll see where I'm going with this.
This woman, just to be clear, not old.
Oh, I just assumed she was.
Even more illegal. Yeah, no.
So listen, my usual route there was some sort of stoppage, so I took a different route, which I hear is good for your brain. It's good for your brain to mix up your route, and when you're doing the same exact routine in the same exact way, it can get a little repetitive. So it is nice to shake it up. And I'm not saying like hit another spot, but like take a different route sometimes. So I try to do that here and there. And I hardly do it rather, but I was happy to in this situation. So first encounter, I'm on a back street before having to switch up my route, and a fella he's no younger than 92 years old and has the handicap sticker on his front window. I'm not being ableist or anything here. I watched him.
Always a strong argument when you start with that.
Pull out of the parking lot. He did not look. He didn't even look. He pulled out. I'm coming this way. He pulled out and just turned. Didn't even fucking look, bro. I laid on my fucking horn. I'm not even sure that he could hear the horn. And it's like, listen, he should not be driving a fucking car. He should not be driving a car. It's insane.
There's two intersections in the city of Boulder that I specifically have to. It's not a four-way stop, but I treat it as such because so many times I've seen people just not look in either direction, just straight through.
On the e-bikes that are basically motorcycles.
Well, that's its own thing, yeah.
Insane. So this 92-year-old dude, he's someone's grandpa. Drag his ass off the road. He should not be driving. It's not a matter of if he was 92 and he had his wits about him and he looked at my car and still put out ahead of me, he'd just be a prick. This dude I don't even think it registered for him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Blew my mind. And it was a back street. It wasn't like I was going to hit him. You know what I mean? But like, it was also like, you didn't even look, man. Like I could see the whole interaction.
Yeah.
You didn't even look at me.
Yeah. The other day when I was driving home, I don't know what was going on. This was in the middle of the day. This was like 3 p.m. I went to run an errand, coming back home. Mm-hmm. Guy driving in front of me driving buck wild. I don't even know how to describe to you what he was doing. Hitting brakes out of nowhere. He stopped in front of a speed bump. Stopped, full brake for some reason. There's only one other guy with me behind him. Yeah. He's in front of me. I can see what he's doing because this guy's staying way back behind trying to figure out what he's doing. Uh-huh. Goes to speed bump, full stop. Floors it, over it. Seat goes up in the back, hits the ground. He then takes a turn, and it's like as if you waited till the last second to take a turn and then just took like one of those bus knobs and went and as fast as you could. One of his wheels came up, dude. Like it went, it went on 3 for a second.
Was it like an SUV?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm sorry. It was like one of those low, like the long daddies, like we like.
Yeah, I love those. Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of popped a little bit, and I'm like, it looked like a child was driving it, dude. like a child was driving it, and I was gonna call it in, but I couldn't really get a good look at the license plate, and I think that he or whoever it was started to understand that me and this other guy were kind of watching him because I was going really slow, but like far back behind.
Yeah.
And he went down a crazy alley and then just gunned it down the alley. And I was like, I don't know what was going on.
Dude.
I mean, because this wasn't like drunk behavior. This was like, you'd have to have been like horsing around. It looked like if a cat and a dog took a car out and they were like, the cat will do the top and the dog will do the bottom. You know what I mean? It was that level of weird.
That's tight.
Yeah.
So, okay. So all this craziness, I'm like, whatever. The dude is old. I think he was in the wrong. It's not a matter of opinion here or how I perceived the situation. I saw him not look at me. Total disregard. Then a crew full of fellas in a busted up fucking work truck dragging behind a bunch of lawn equipment almost ran me off the fucking road on diagonal. And I was like, dude, what is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Landscapers around here treat the roads like Mad Max.
Honestly,
it feels like Fury Road.
And I was like, maybe I was in their blind spot, but I'm not going to accept responsibility for being in someone's blind spot. Their responsibility is to fucking look over their shoulder. Insane. So I'm luckily paying attention because I'm driving a hunk of fucking metal going 65 miles an hour, and I acknowledge that. Like, yo, insane. And then, like, I drove by him and looked at him like, what are we doing, bro? He wouldn't even look at me. And it's like, you motherfucker. Fuck you. Fuck your little...
I love that this podcast has divulged into just road rage incidents.
It's just, well, the reason I'm bringing it up, I typically wouldn't even bring this up, but it happened twice in two blatant disregarding ways, just heinous disregard.
Listen, look, I think this is anywhere, so maybe it'll be universal enough, but at least here in Boulder, if you're trying to move around this city between the hours of like 8 and 10 a.m., it is truly like, it's like chaos. It's like there's no rules. No one, like, you've got so many people riding bikes here, which is great for the environment or whatever. I don't know, the amount of bikes every single person seems to own here seems to negate whatever we'd be doing by not driving, but they don't follow any sort of street laws at all. Like, I'm surprised there's not people getting, when people are like, they got hit, it's a tragedy. I'm like, I'm shocked that this isn't happening daily.
And it is a tragedy. It is a tragedy. And in a perfect world, you should be able to ride your bike on the road and not get hit. 100%,
but it's not. But what I'm saying is, like, dude, that's like, I'm surprised it's not happening way more frequently than it is. Like, I'm surprised these are freak accidents at all. It feels like it would happen daily, the way people are like, not following the laws. And then you've got kids on e-bikes, which are basically like kids like 14-year-olds on dirt bikes with like 14 of them on there.
They go way faster than you think. I took my buddies for a spin around the block when we went and got pizza and drinks a couple month or two ago. And he goes, you could take it around the block if you want. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. I've never ridden one. I'd like to know what the situation is. And like, bro, like, it's like, woo, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of caught me off guard. I'm not even sure I got it up fully cooking. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to, because it's silliness when you're sharing the road with hunks of metal with people the way they are out here.
Well, and it's like, you don't have to have a license or anything. So like, I'm seeing them at night when I drive home from my movies. You know, it's like midnight. Yeah. There's like these 14-year-old like kids, and they've got one kid driving, and they've got like 15
3 kids on the back,
sitting on the back without helmet. It's like, guys, like I'm like, I did a lot of weird stuff when I was a kid, so I'm not trying to poo-poo things, but like, this is too much. Like, there's a reason this shouldn't be illegal. I mean, it's like, it's too much. I mean, and then we've got like, if everyone was wondering like, oh, I haven't seen a Cybertruck, they're all here.
Yeah,
there's
all
like
here.
literally, I see 16 a day. There's like 3 at the gym I go to. There's 2 different guys got them wrapped in different colors that drop off at the school. I saw, and those don't have like, I don't think you can even see out the back of those things. So I saw one guy trying to parallel park one who hit a car in front of him, didn't stop, just kept going. Docks that guy. It's like they I'm telling you, it's like Mad Max.
Yeah, listen, we got to move on because it's gonna raise my heart, and I don't want to talk about my heart rate.
Let me raise your heart more. I've got another article. I don't know how so many are happening at once. It's like they gave Noah Johnson the assignment to absolutely like, they're like, I don't know what to do for GQ. Noah, do you think that you could come in and just rev the fuck out of a very specific niche in menswear? And he's like, got it. I'm gonna go for the top 5 things I'm seeing in Google Trends, and I'm going to just say that they're over, all of them at the same time. Yeah. So we have a new one, and so that'll be fun I just figured it would be fun to go through these again, considering just how riled up the chore coat thing got people. Yeah. But then Vans are good. My man's jumping around a lot. This feels like a light troll for sure.
Yeah.
Not saying that the trend shouldn't be challenged.
I think
that's great.
I would bet that if an unnamed maker started making some Vans-esque shoes, he would change his tune really quick.
No, the Vans were good. Vans were good.
Oh. Never mind then.
Vans were back.
Vans are back.
Chore coat's out.
Chore coat's out.
Unless they're made of butcher linen, and then we're back. They're back in. We can connect what dots they want there. Yeah. So this one is entitled, I don't know if you've read it or not.
I haven't.
R.I.P.
I don't read articles.
R.I.P. Gorp Core.
Okay.
It's dead, apparently.
Yeah. Good. It don't rain anymore.
Which is, well, and I guess that's a little bit of like what this starts to be of like, sure, all we did because of social media is put names on all this stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everything has to have like a name. Yeah. Like wearing an Arc'teryx jacket. I mean, first of all, everyone in Boulder has been participating in Gorp Core since the 70s, if that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? So, so I hear it. obnoxious level of collecting this stuff, and I think that
taking the photos of you're in the shower and it's wicking off your hood and shit.
Suddenly, everyone hikes. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, you can imagine us hiking where we're from. What would we be hiking?
I mean, I walked around in the woods, but like you didn't. There wasn't a hiking trail.
There was no hill.
Just a lot of woods. You just went in the woods.
It was just dead trees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By a river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, listen, do I think that, like, we need to, like, move on from every single brand trying to participate in their own way? Mm-hmm. Probably. Probably about time. I think these trends take on and then they go, you know, I will say this much. This lasted way longer than I would have expected it to, honestly.
Gorp core?
The Gorp thing. Yeah. When that first started popping off, I was like, oh, yeah, well, it's a lot of the Japanese brands had already been doing some of that thing, or at least certainly like reviving brands or, you know, rethinking old silhouettes and things like that. And so you can kind of see it coming to a certain degree.
And like, maybe it's dead, quote unquote, in the way of like wearing a beanie with a hat over top that's cinched real tight, and you got your goggles on, and then a ski mask, and then something else, and then you got 2 pairs of gloves on, a backpack that has a camelback thing coming out of it, but you're like walking to your car, like maybe that's what he's communicating.
And to be fair, a lot of the article is more or less like, hey, look, a rain jacket's not going to go away, but maybe we don't need 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that there's just things that happen like this, and then there's levels that'll stick and levels that won't. Obviously, extremes on either side will get shed. There'll be some stuff in the middle that stays around.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think that's like a lot of what this ends up being. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. How do you feel about it? You think it should? I'm pro the extreme levels dying. I mean, we had kind of said that we were like interested in like kind of what post Gorp would look like.
I think that's a reasonable middle ground to land in. Like you said, like what it rains. And also for the record, like people have been dressing quote unquote Gorp core here for a long time. That's how people have always dressed here in Boulder. So like the idea that like, you know, fleeces and that material, you know what I mean? And like wearing like you know, long active wear underneath shorts and shit. Like that wasn't a new thing here in Boulder. That's something that people have always been doing. So I think it's going to become more geographically specific. A bunch of nerds in New York City having on all this shit to like walk on cement maybe isn't going to be the cool thing to do anymore.
I think that fashion like always kind of ends up having all these, there was a lot of like fits of trends that I think were happening throughout COVID because there was a lot of boredom, a lot of people sharing stuff online, a lot of brands trying a lot of different things. I don't want to say grasping at straws, but some grasping at straws. And, you know, it just kind of ends up in this kind of like messy, there's a lot of different trends going at the same time. And I think that what's happening here and what he's writing about is a lot of like, you know, continued fatigue around certain things of like, why hasn't it felt like in a little while that there's been much innovation, at least as far as trends go, because that's what GQ reports.
You know what I would
agree that there's not like any certain types of trends. It'd be hard to like nail them down exactly. I mean, there's always like, sure, you can go into micro stuff or like hyper, like, you know, fashion focused things like certain colors or small silhouettes or little trend, you know, but like there's not that many like big ones like Gorp like going on right now.
I think maybe what would be beneficial would be if we stopped assigning names to every small micro thing that happened. Sure. And just like, if you like something, whether it's because some of your buddies were doing it or you saw a person that you like on the internet doing it, like, then you can do that.
But it's also, we talked about this, it's kind of fun to participate at the same time.
It's fun to participate,
it's fun to see something and then be like, oh, I know what that is. I recognize
but
that.
But if it wasn't defined as Gorp core, it would have never died because people always been wearing that shit. Like, who cares?
It was like, we're all kind of doing this kind of look for a little while. Yeah. You know, which is cool.
Sure.
I think that more for me, and listen, we talked about this in the last, we don't need to do it again. I think that articles like this are fun because it's encouraging conversation, which I think a lot of this, you know, kind of media hasn't done for a long time. But I hate black and white talking.
I was going to say,
I hate that it has to be all, it's dead. It's
we even
done.
said with
it's
the
like,
chore
okay, well,
coat
who
thing,
the fuck are you?
I agree. I agreed that I'm feeling some fatigue in my personal closet with my chore coats. It feels like the obvious thing to grab, or I've worn so much of them that I'm maybe ready to try a different silhouette. So I agreed with him there. And for the record, I agree with him here. I think quote unquote Gorp core is probably not like the trend that is attracting like 19 and 20-year-olds with money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you said, the black and white talk, and listen, I'm trying really hard to not live in the black and white so much anymore. Yeah. Life is gray and there's a lot of shit in between. I just think it's like, all right, you want clicks, and you need clicks because you're writing for an online thingy. You know what I mean?
Because it's, you're being paid by advertisements.
I just really also don't care what somebody has to say about how other people dress in general. I'm sharing my opinion, but I'm a dumbass. So, but I do think when you're writing for a publication, you accept some sort of like air of, authority. And it's like, I don't care.
I think that what I'd like to see though is like, I like this more opinionated writing. I think I'm pro, I'd love to see someone write a response, you know what I mean? That was like, no, and here's all the reasons no, if that's how they felt. I think that's great. I don't think this is that big of a reach. I don't think anyone's like going to die on some hill for, this,
Yeah.
But I think that you can also say that like trends usher in new things, which get, amalgamated and turn into different stuff. So I'm always pro a big wave of trend because I think it ends up influencing a bunch of people in different ways, and some of it sticks, some of it doesn't, but that's the whole thing. You know what I mean? And I don't think every trend needs to die. You know what I'm saying? Like stand up for some shit. I mean, standing on like Vans, it's like, God bless you, I'm with you. But like, come on, everyone likes those. That's not, no one was ever like, we're done with that. And I don't think any of that ever happened. And if they did, you guys wrote it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't think there's any reason for that. I think you can kind of just let things happen.
What do you got on today?
Naturally. Converse.
You got on Chucks. Some Fresh Boys. Because let me show you what I got on. Vans.
Yeah. If that's not, I'm Vans. We'll give you his address. I don't know how many he can handle at once, but that is the endorsement you're gonna get from him. I mean, I think, I don't know. Noah Johnson's like my man's trying to get shot in the streets at this point. The way he's writing,
I like it. I for the record, I like him. Fun. I think it's cool to make a sweeping statement.
I just think it's funny that we've got
I'm down to
3
argue
sweeping statements so quickly in a row.
Yeah,
but it's fun.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I think it's dead or not. I think, like I said, I don't think there's any life or death things happening because we're talking about clothes.
Yeah.
So I don't think it matters. I think that, you're going to see what I think, and what we've talked about is this sort of like post-Gorp thing where it's like a softening of the whole thing. It doesn't need to be so all black and harsh and shot like you are in the movie Spawn. You know what I mean? Like I am definitely a little over that whole situation where for some reason it's like RoboCop meets outdoors guy. Like I'm definitely, that's too much. Yeah. I think we found the outskirts of what
But I like elements of what people would consider Gorpcore. I like elements of like waterproof, vests layered under, say something like a chore coat. You know what I mean? Like EG does that well, in my opinion, of taking things that like feel like it's outdoor wear-ish with like maybe a workwear silhouette or a more modern silhouette. And it might be like Ripstop, right? Like Ripstop is like both military and Gorp, probably because it has like a functionality aspect to it. You know what I mean? And I like the marriage of those two, and I think that's kind of where I like to live. And
here's what I think is good about this kind of stuff happening. This stuff happens. It gets big enough to where brands can't really deny it. Like they can't deny that it's the thing that they're going to need to touch on if they're going to kind of be culturally relevant, especially when you've got to think if you're like a brand like Prada, like you have a responsibility to a certain extent, I think, to almost comment culturally on what's going on in your world and participate because it's part of that decade and time period. And I think that this trend got big enough that no brand wasn't touching it. You know, I mean, Prada, for example, had all those, you know, nylon things with the big tacky logo on it and stuff like that. And you saw brands start to experiment with like, how can we dye nylon, you know, differently? How can we push the boundary? How you know, how can we make something like Gore-Tex drape well, or you know what I mean, like whatever it is. I'm just making random things up, but I'm just saying I think it forced people to reckon with it and push themselves where they wouldn't. And like, you know, even for myself, like I never thought about non-natural materials in my life. It's just I've never been attracted to them personally, and I bought a handful of pieces that like changed my mind, and certainly things that will stay in my wardrobe and some that won't, and that's all okay. But so I think that like when you read these articles that he's been writing, all of them sort of have that sentiment to a certain degree of like, you know, here's this harsh opinion presented harshly, and then I'm also going to back up and say like, look, it doesn't mean like you don't have a raincoat, just maybe you don't need, like he said, like 7 or whatever. And you're like, yeah, that's probably.
I largely agree with what he's saying.
You participate, you get a bunch of stuff, you pare it down into what's best, or you kind of at least know to like, maybe I don't need to be like, I don't wear any of that kind of thing, because nobody did, and everyone saw, you know, Frank Ocean with that Arc'teryx jacket, and the, you know, at the.
Is that what did it?
I don't know. I think that certainly didn't hurt.
Yeah.
And it changes your mind. You know what I mean? So I think that like, you know, I don't know. I like I said, I don't like the black and white thing, but I also sort of I respect trends a lot because I think that they're important culturally to people, and you know, it changed the way everyone thought about things and dressed for a little while, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's fun. I think that as much as I am pro the harsh critiques and sweeping declarations of trend death and all this stuff, let's also maybe, what I'd love to see is people being also like, this is what's hot. Like, take that risk. I mean, take a positive risk with what you're saying. It's easy to be a critic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just is. And I love critics. I was just asking Discord the other day, like, hey, what are you guys following for movies and stuff? Because I just feel like I'm not finding the opinionated stuff I used to like to read. And it doesn't even have to do with like my opinion of the film or whatever. I just like to read what other people's takes are on it. So I'm very pro all of that. But let's also take some risks in like, this is what's cool. This is what's next. We support this. We're riding for it. Like, I really like that sort of like group mentality that'll happen, that like, hey, we're all doing it this way. This is fun. This is like our thing. And then like, that felt like more like how like trends would happen in like middle school and shit. Yeah. Like, you know, all my friends wear red hats, and you know, well, that sounds like MAGA now, but
Tar Heel hats.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm saying like they'll be like, you know, it would like happen more like organically and community oriented. Like,
I think that's what I fun. Yeah, I like and miss that. We've talked about it. It's like, bro, I showed up to 7th grade. I had on a pair of brand new white K-Swiss shoes that I probably got from JCPenney's in the Ashtabula Mall. And my boy Nick is sitting there, and he goes, "What are you doing with those, bro? You need a pair of skate shoes." And I looked down, and he had on a pair of DCs, and it was also in the time when everybody got the etnies, the black etnies, and you either got green, red, red, or blue. And it had the little E sideways. It looked like an M, ones? You know? Yeah. And I just remember being like, fuck, I want those. Yeah. And I like the idea of being influenced by the people directly near you, less influenced by what somebody is writing on the internet. Or like, for instance, if you're participating in a Discord, I'm not even saying our Discord. There's a lot of Discords of a lot of people that are just like forums, whatever. That's cool because you found people that are like-minded to you. This is more of a buckshot that is going out to like everybody who reads a massive publication that is a household name. And I just feel like it takes away any of like the community aspect of it. Like we said, like I thought a Tar Heels hat was the coolest thing in the fucking world. Every time I'd walk by the shop that was next to what would become a Hot Topic, I was like, I need a Tar Heels hat, because I saw like a high schooler dude with it on backwards, and I was like, he looks cool with that. You know what I mean? When I was 8. And I thought that was cool. And it felt very local. It was not influenced by anything anybody was writing outside of what was my entire world, which was like, again, a corner of Ohio.
Sure. I think the bummer can sort of be, at least to me, where, like, let's say Gorp, let's use that as the example because that's what we're talking about, is that's a trend that starts to happen. And then what happens is everyone trying to outdo each other on like, this was already part of my personality. And it's like, no, everyone knows it wasn't, because it wasn't really that much of a thing. There was like a handful of guys that were into hiking and shit that didn't dress cool, and it wasn't you. You know what I'm saying? And like, so let's not pretend like I don't like this facade that you have to build around excitement. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you have to justify, like, no, I was already into this. I already had one of these before. And it's like, you don't have to do this. Like, let's just all be like, this is a fun thing. Let's get us and all of our buddies on board. And then that's
your buddies,
fun.
Your friends.
You know what I mean? It should be fun. And that's what I mean by like, I'd like to see these articles and writers maybe take more of that swing of like, I'm calling this is fun. This is cool. This is going to be the next thing. These are what all my friends are doing. And you could be like, oh, that's interesting. Like, whether I'm into it or not is its own thing. And that can be its own open conversation, because you might want to clown on that guy. But like, I think that's more taking the risk in like making a big sweeping declaration rather than just being like, something's dead. I can anything dead. Lamps are dead. Your hat's dead. You know, that jacket's dead. It's easier. And where it does involve, you know, I think it invites all this like fun conversation, which I'm, you know, like I just said, I'm a big pro on, but I don't know. I get a little bummed when everything has to always be like, no, I've always been into this, or like these have always been cool, and I'm just bringing them back, and it just makes it so like, I don't know, less exploratory and fun and exciting, and you know, I think that I'm just over fashion being so self-involved and not open and fun, and I think that's so silly. You know, I just think it's so goofy to take it that fucking seriously. And
also, where would you like
act like, well, and it also feels like sometimes with this stuff you're like, oh, see, all you dumbasses, you're on the out. Haha, I'm the guy that knows best. And you're like, oh, buddy, come on. Like it'd be more fun. Like, tell me what is cool too, so that we can all go, okay, I respect your opinion. What is cool? Let me get on that now. You know what I mean? Like I want let's crack the door a little bit. You know, I'm a little sick of I'm just going to close every door in the house nonstop. And you're like, and no one can ever keep up because I know best. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. Yeah. What is the trend? Based on the way things are going, I'm going to assume scarecrow core or something, you know, so
if we had to tie a name to it. Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It just feels like it can't be like, that's the only cool thing and every other door is shut now, you know,
it's exhausting.
Yeah. So let's find some new things. Let's invite people in, not shut people out. That'd be what I'd like to do. You know, like as far as a change goes a little bit. Yeah. But it's not going to happen, but I like the idea.
No, and again, I mostly am agreeing with what he says. I think for me, I respond so negatively to things like that because I feel so exhausted with the idea that I got to change the way I dress all the time. I just like want
to fit in with who? Is that question? You know what I mean, just who am I trying to fit in with?
Wear the things you like, and if you see somebody you think looks cool and you want to emulate that look, then like you have full agency to do that because you're a living, breathing human with your own opinions, and just like do that. Remember, we had an event and a fellow was wearing like, he was like ricked out, you know what I mean? But he had on all the jewelry, and he's looking at these necklaces, and he goes, I don't know if you could tell, I really like necklaces.
Oh, I just realized too.
And it's like, necklaces. Dude, you own that shit. Yeah, you're the only person in the room dressed like you, and you owned it, and you weren't concerned about what was cool or in or out or this and that and the other. And I said, I'm not a fan of Rick Owens, of the aesthetic or this, that, and the other. But I like that
he outside of skin tone, I can't fathom you in a Rick Owens outfit.
But I loved and respected. I liked that fella. I got to chat with him for a while. I thought he was a really cool guy. But I also respected that like he wasn't concerned.
See what happens he was like very much the only person in the room dressed like that. You know, running their own shit. Then you'd look at a guy with like 1,000 necklaces, and you're like, I'm not going to wear 1,000 necklaces, but now I'm thinking about a necklace. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I think is like fun. You know what I mean? I think that's what like a trend like Gorp kind of does, is it's like, you know, a brand like Oral-Lee or something is going to see it and be like, oh shit, like that's not, this whole version of it isn't for me, but I can see how we could incorporate that in here and do what we do in a cool way. And I think that's when things get super fun. Yeah. And you can be like, oh, we can all participate in that trend in completely different ways. You know what I mean? What Oral-Lee did with that versus what, what I can't think of another brand, but it's just all gonna be very different, and then influence each other, and then keep getting more and more interesting. I think if everyone could just kind of do their own thing and like respect like hey, I think a bunch of people are wearing this. That's fun. How can we do that? And just do your own thing with it. That's just a more fun world to live in. And I just want, I know this feels so, like I said, it's a little pat yourself on the back, but I just want it to be a little less. I'm so sick of the fashion gatekeeping bullshit of like everyone wants to be the only one doing one thing. It's like, dude, we're in menswear. It's all been done to a certain
Just so
degree.
you know, if you bought something from us, I got a couple more on the rack, and somebody else has that same thing issue. You know what I'm saying?
It's just, it
so
is
like,
what it is.
You're not so unique unless you're making your own clothes. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
it's made in multiples.
What I want to do is buy the same things and be like, how do you do it differently than how I would do it? Do you button it all the way up? Do you leave it open?
Yeah, sure,
do you
sure.
Pop the collar? Do you wash it? Do you not wash? You know what I mean? Like all this shit.
Yeah.
All those intricacies that make a regular piece of clothing someone else's is what I think is interesting.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it's sometimes a little bit, I don't know. Every other version of it feels like just costume dressing. If it's just like,
sure.
Oh, I bought 7 of those and now I'm just going to get rid of all of them at the same time. You're like, okay, so you're just...
That's what makes me.
You were just doing whatever everyone says. You know what I mean? Like that's
what do you like?
Yeah.
What makes you feel comfortable? And if it is just being on trend, then that's fine. You know what I mean? But I'd reckon there's probably something that you wish you could still dress like, but you're worried about being part of the out crowd if you dress that way.
Reality is probably none of us need another piece of clothing and we all need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
Is the reality of what we're talking about. Because it's really just more about like confidence and being comfortable in your own skin and things like that. And I just think that a lot of the gatekeeping kind of just furthers that, gets further and further away from that of like encouraging people and making it more of like a community oriented, like fun thing that can be appreciated by everyone, which is what art should be.
Yep.
So it also feels like it takes it further away from like writing and thinking about it as art.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if any of that makes sense.
Well,
I think this is kind of like a similar situation of what we got to last time when we talked about it. But
Yep. And I'm sure I've said some contradictory remarks, this, that, and the other. I'm just conversing. I'm a dumbass. I'm sharing my opinion. I think it comes, like you said, it comes back to last time. Like, you should dress in how you feel comfortable and how you can best present yourself to the world. I think that's what's cool.
Listen, NJ, come on the pod challenge.
You want to come do some hot ones with us? We'll fly you out to Boulder.
We'll have them fly out here.
We got to order those today.
But like I think it'll be. I enjoy that this is creating nonstop conversation.
Yeah.
Why is it all? I mean, it's like it feels so specifically opinionated and controversial for a reason, obviously, which I respect.
Yeah,
but
it has to be.
But yeah, I think it is fun to have the conversation. It's just I would love I would love for there to be a publication that sort of changed the narrative a little bit, where it still could be fun and have an opinion and a point of view without having to be so like hard-lined on everything, which I think is such, an eye roll sometimes when it feels. And that's why probably people would isolate this as feeling clickbaity or something like that.
Yeah.
It's clickbaity within a very specific group of people that would give a shit about this. But still. So, keep on keeping on, GQ. I respect the what's going on here.
Yeah.
Plus, it's giving us shit to talk about, so I'm pro that. So, yeah. All right, what else? Anything else that we need to cover or you needed to bring up or anything?
Nope, I covered that all at the top of the
hour. Let's go to
hour.
the old notes pad and see if there's anything in here we needed to do. Oh, let's. I know there was a couple pod questions. Let's maybe try to bang one of those out to close things up.
Yeah, somebody had asked that when we go to Nerds Record, we do like a what's in your bag type shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yep.
I'm excited just to go there and dick around. I don't have a record player or anything like that, but I do have this beautiful The Glow Part 2 from my boy Jonty in Australia. I love you, my boy.
Here we go. This is a funny one. There's actually a really good one that I want to talk about next week. So I'm going to leave that one. Shout out Jonty, always putting great questions in there. Our motherfucking boy. This is from our other motherfucking boy, Big Coo. Ooh. He said, "What's the appropriate response when someone calls your Visvim Skagways Converse?"
The appropriate response.
And this is like, it's like a perfect like anecdote of like, this happens a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like someone thinks it's something different, or they don't know they don't know what it is. Or
in my opinion, the appropriate and coolest response would be like, "Oh, thanks, bro," and dap them up. That is the coolest response, because listen, what do you want? Do you want to be able to tell them how expensive they are?
$800.
Do you want to be able to tell a story to a person that clearly doesn't see or care? And like, they shouldn't. They shouldn't. And like, if you're wearing Skags or Seeger Lows or what have you,
they look like Converse.
They look like
Converse.
What do you think they're based on?
Yeah.
So the coolest thing to do would just be to dap them up and say, "Thank you, dog. I appreciate that," and then show some love to them. That'd be the coolest thing that you could do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like I just never really want to play that game. The person that you'd want to actually have a conversation with about the shoe is going to know what what it is, and so anybody else is just being nice for no reason. There's not even they're just
So what
being genuine.
You're gonna make them feel bad that they said something nice to you? No, I don't think that's cool or
that you
fun or
spent
cute.
a bunch of money on something, which doesn't really make you look better. Now you kind of look like a dip. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that's helping anybody.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think it's just more of like, oh man, yeah, I really appreciate that. Or
thanks,
like, you
bro.
know what I mean, like,
thank you. Tell them where you got them, Canoe Club, and that'd be about it.
Yeah.
You know, and then show some love to them. Be like, what's I dig this hat, or I dig your whole situation you got going on, whatever.
Yeah, my dream of dressing is that no one ever has any idea what I've done, unless you're very, very in the know. Because I don't really want to have a long conversation about those things.
Yeah,
I do it 2 times a week, so I'm really not. I do it for an hour, so I don't need. I don't need to add more.
Hey,
quite frankly.
Speaking of which, me and Timbo did the math, and loosely, it's probably more than this. We have spoken on the pod that if you started it on 8 a.m. Monday morning, that was a while
ago too. We're probably up a day.
We're probably up a day.
Yeah.
If you started on Monday morning 8 a.m. Monday morning, 8 a.m. a week later would come, and we would still have been talking if you played every episode back to back to back.
We were at 8 full days. It was a little bit more than that too. So it was like 8.25.
Crazy.
So we're probably at 9 at this point. So 9 full days of just talking. If you started at episode 1 and just went through, so
it's so crazy. And then let us not forget, you and I and Abby, we've spent. It'd be hard, but we could measure it. We've spent months of our lives together at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you could take all the time,
of course, more than that, dude. It's 8 hours a day minimum.
40 hours a week for 52 weeks, more or less.
No one wants to hear
for
us do this math
up to
live,
it's almost 8 years. So
it's a
crazy.
Lot. Yeah, we spent way too much time together.
A lot of time together.
It's too much. So if anyone wants to marathon, you'll start at episode 1. You will be done on the, what does that put you at, the 28th of September?
Yeah.
You'll be nearly in a new month.
Yep.
I don't recommend doing it. I think there's probably better ways to spend your time. But if you love us, you can go ahead and do that. And then you can learn every single dumb story we've ever told. And somehow we keep finding more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say... Goodness gracious, the incense put me to sleep. I was gonna say I'll tell the story again.
It's you're gonna need to hit the inhaler after being in here.
I need the albuterol.
It feels in here a little bit because that thing burned way longer. If anyone was wondering how long it
burned into about 5 minutes ago.
We are at 56 minutes, and I think this just stopped. So that's an hour burn time.
It burned for literally 50 minutes straight.
That's really great. I do feel a little like when the Migos pulled up at the VMAs. Remember, and they get out and they like looking the wrong direction and stuff. I feel a little like that right now.
So sick. But no, that's about it, man. That's about it. I was gonna tell a story, but I think I told it. But I'll save it for another story of a fella I know I've told the story. A fella I know named Jaybird that performed a citizen's arrest on a drunk.
I don't know if you've told this. I don't know if I know this.
I will save it for the next pod.
It's a good next one. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
Tune in.
Yeah.
Subscribe now to hear about Jaybird.
Yeah, perform a citizen's arrest. But yeah,
all right.
Other than that, guys,
you know where to
show
find
some
us.
love. Hit
I
us
think
up.
we've got some new videos on YouTube, some new like more conceptual things. Not conceptual, but like us talking about how to style things and more. I don't know. I haven't been on there, but you should go check it out.
Also, Grumiti event next weekend. Not in a day, but the weekend following. So hit us up, join in.
We've got some new stuff dropping, and tune in. You know where to find us.
Yep,
we're around.
Sounds good. All right, love you. Bye. Peace out.